We've never been more connected, but we've also never felt more alone, right? Welcome to the Human Impact. Hi, my name's Jason, and I started the Human Impact channel to share the impact that we have on ourselves and on others with the things that we do, the impact that we have. In this video, I want to talk about loneliness. And it's such a sad thing to talk about. The idea that statistically, there are hundreds of thousands of elderly people who go a week or more without actually talking to anybody. And that's heartbreaking for me, thinking about grandparents or thinking about elderly generation that have been through war and now they are sat there on their own, and when it gets to wintertime, sat there in the dark with a jumper over their knees to keep themselves warm. And there's a generation behind me that are saying that they've never felt more lonely. And these are younger generations that should be out building camps and rope swings into rivers and stuff like that. But yet people have never felt more lonely. I don't know about you, but for me, loneliness starts with not wanting to be a burden on people. And my mind is just always full up with stuff. What's going on? What's happening here? When I was running a business, what's happening with cash flow? What's happening with strategy? What's happening with this? What's happening there? Then you get stuck into the media because you sat there on your own. Oh my God, this is happening. What's the impact there? And you become so mentally cluttered, and yet you don't want to be a burden. For me, people would come and talk to me about their stuff, and that's such a privilege when people come and talk to you, but then you don't want to talk back because you know that other people are going through these same issues. And what happens is it becomes this sliding scale downwards. You end up, you don't want to talk to anybody. You don't want to be a burden. You feel mentally awful. You become more isolated. That leads to depression. Depression can lead to more drinking. That can lead to sadness. And it just spirals from there, and it goes on. And it's that idea that you don't want to be a burden to people. Everything becomes so overwhelming. I could be sat there in a room full of people, not that I would do that too often, and you just like, I just feel so unhappy. I feel so sad. I feel so alone. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to contribute to anybody else feeling in the way that I do, which is the weight of the world is just sat here. And I've got some pretty broad shoulders, right? And I used to think that I could carry quite a lot of weight, not just physical, but also that mental load. And I used to think that I can carry a lot. But the reality is that is going to just weigh down upon you. And loneliness moves to depression. Depression moves to isolation. Isolation leads into this cycle of other stuff. You'll end up drinking more. You end up eating more. You end up chasing happy feelings. It's detrimental to relationships. It's detrimental to business. And it's going to be happening. It is happening out there to millions of people. So I want to start by saying, I see you. I've been there, and I'm not saying that I am out of this in any way, shape or form. But what I've had to do is start to work really hard at going back to the basics. I can catastrophize with the best of them. I can start to think, right, I'm going to talk to this person. They're going to hate me forever. They're going to judge me for being vulnerable. They're going to think I'm weak. They're going to think I'm not there for them. They don't want to then offload upon me their emotional issues, which means that I'm going to be a really shite friend. So if that's going to happen, well, I tell you what, it is better for me just to not engage in the first place. And I will do that. I will catastrophize with the best of them. And I'm pretty damn sure that there are a load of people out there that will be doing the same. And when I started looking at the statistics of these things, it really started to hit home that A, I'm not alone, B, I'm not weird, but C, actually, there are some of these things that I can start to control more myself. And this is the baby steps. And let me share with you some of that stuff in a second. But let's look at some of these statistics. And they're pretty unpleasant. Just like the other video, when was it? Last week. Anyway, I might tag it at the end because it was talking about what's happening out there to us dudes. But anyway, look, so Office for National Statistics is talking about over 3.8 million adults in the UK often, always feel alone. Again, ONS 2022, young people 16 to 24 report higher levels of loneliness than any other age group. 1 in 4 adults feel lonely some or all of the time, the campaign to end loneliness. Over 500,000 older people go 5+ days a week without speaking to anyone. Age UK, I touched on this at the beginning, and that is absolutely heartbreaking for me. A generation that have done their time in the world, but yet they don't feel connected in any way, shape or form. Loneliness is linked to a 29% increase in heart disease and a 32% increase in stroke risk. And there is, I'm sure, yeah, globally, lonely people are 2.5 times more likely to experience depression. Chronic loneliness can increase dementia risk by up to 40%. Loneliness increases the risk of premature death by 26%. And the US Surgeon General declared loneliness a national epidemic in 2023. So calling it as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Now, I've never smoked, so I don't understand the physical impact of that, but I do know some of the statistics around smoking and lung cancer. Workplace and digital loneliness. Remote workers are 67% more likely to feel lonely at work. Social media use is correlated with higher loneliness, especially in teens. And then we looked at this going back to young people, 16 to 24. And only 39% of UK adults say they have someone to rely on for emotional support. Look, that's not far away from 50%. So 1 in 2 people are saying that they don't have anyone to rely on for emotional support. This is alarming, right? And we're all sat here pretty happy to be smashing around on WhatsApp and all those other things. And I'm guilty of this. It becomes a crutch, and it's easy to disappear into nothingness. And for me, and I keep saying like for me, I'm giving you my shared experience here. I'm about 50 years old, single, no kids, live alone. It is easy for me to disappear because there's no one around that necessarily has to rely on me. You know, people have their own issues. You've got kids and teenagers, they're running businesses, they're carers for other people. They've got their own things to worry about. So it's easy for me to not engage. And you know what, today's day and age, right? Blink 3 times and it's freaking Christmas. Blink another 3 times and it's the next summer, and then suddenly it's crap. Where's my life gone? And suddenly I've got a grey beard, right? It happens really easily. So it's easy, your life can crumble. And then I'm sure I've touched on this before, when your frame of reference changes, suddenly what shouldn't be normal, suddenly it becomes normal to you. And suddenly you're there going, I haven't showered for 4 days. This can happen to me easily. I could lay in bed for ages. There has to be some personal level of small discipline to move you forwards. So let me tell you a few things that have really been useful to me. First of all, I've touched on this in another video, the talking side of things, opening up to people. You have to be careful about where you take this yourself personally, in terms of, do you just want to kind of blurt out? Who do you trust? Very, very fortunate in that soul searching awakening of about 18 months. There were a few people that I really put my trust in, and that's opened up a whole other level of beautiful relationship that's come from that. So you need to decide yourself what's right for you. There are cafes that are out there who specialize in this. Went to a place called Steamhouse Cafe in Kings Lynn, so I'm sure it's that sort of Norfolk range, but there are others that are out there. When I got back to North Wales and went to the GP, they explained that there are other places that are out there. So you could go and talk to your GP or someone, you know, that's out there that would be able to give you access. And what they do is that, from what I've seen or what my experience is I went to this place and I just sat there on a table. And by this point, there's freaking tears streaming out of my eyes. I've been physically sick through anxiety and nervousness. And someone just came and sat with me and just said, would you like someone to talk to? And at that point, you could then say, well, no, actually, I'm just going to finish this coffee. It could be that one step. At least just go in, sit down, or at least then talk. I know when they had tables where there was a sign saying, I'd like to sit alone and just be in my thoughts. I don't think it said be in my thoughts, but you get the idea. So that's one step that you could take. What I do, and this maybe won't be for everybody, I've got this little journal here called the 5-minute journal. I'll do another video about how I'm journaling on a bigger scale because I'm using some AI functionality and doing a brain dump every evening using a talk type kind of app. But I'll talk to you about that another time using, as a life coach type thing. But here's what I do within this. So in this 5-minute journal, I'll drop a link below because I love this thing. And all it's got is, it's got some really interesting stuff at the beginning. And every day there's just 3 parts to it in the morning and then 2 parts to it in the evening. What am I grateful for? What would make today great? And a daily affirmation. And then at night, highlights of the day and what did I learn? And I hold myself accountable to reaching out to people, to making sure that I do things, that I go out and meet someone for a coffee, or I make that conscious choice because I feel better for it. And then what I would do is, what would make today great? Going to meet John for a coffee, highlight of the day, having a really lovely chat, say with John, and then I can go back and reflect on that. So I'm trying to hold myself to account for a few very, very small steps. And that could be for you. That could just be go out and walk and just say hello to somebody. They might not say hello back, but you never know. They might be having the worst day ever, and that could change their life for that moment. They could be walking off to go and do something really stupid, and by you saying hello, they suddenly reinforce the goodness of people. Or a cashier at the local Aldi or Asda or wherever you go to shop. I hate those kind of self-service things, but then again, there are longer queues, because when I go to the cashier, I can just say, hey, how's your day going? And they'll just suddenly look back and go, oh my God. And I feel great for that. It's one little simple question. And that then connects me to one person, and I feel less lonely in the moment. I feel like I've done something nice for somebody else. I feel good in myself, and that then helps me feel happier. There's a whole range of other things. And when you connect the dots on these videos, you'll see how they all start to come together. But this is going to be really important. You're not alone. You're not weird. You're not abnormal. It's very easy to get into this. When your frame of reference changes, your new normal, as everybody talked about during the pandemic, will change, and suddenly every day will start to be like this. You need to break. Punch yourself out of that cycle. Think about a couple of small things that you could do. And you know what? If you're watching this, why don't you tag someone below who you want to know that you want to connect up with them, tag someone that you want to have a chat with, tag someone who has reached out to you and show them a bit of love for that. And you know what? We can all break out of this cycle. And I know it's hard. And I know there will be other people that feel so desperate that you just don't quite know which way to go. Do something just really, really small. Maybe do it once a week, then maybe every 2 or 3 days. Start to think about what you can control when you start to really grab hold of these things. I wish I would have done this sooner. And that's why I'm sharing this stuff with you, because this is my lived experience. I've been there. I promise you, these things don't go away unless you do something about it. Or maybe some people come and do an intervention. Is that an American thing? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. I'm going to finish this here. Thanks for getting this far. I really appreciate you. Feel free to share. I'd love to know what your comments are. Be respectful. And I appreciate this isn't everybody's thing. Maybe you are the most confident, outgoing type person, but in my experience, maybe those are the ones that are hurting just a little bit more and don't want the world to see. Anyway, look, I really appreciate you for being here. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe. It does mean a lot to me. It will mean a lot to the channel. The more that I can share out there, the more people that I can help, and you can be part of this, right? Let's just create this community around understanding impact, because there is consequence. We are being fucking mean to each other out there, and it's just unacceptable. So anyway, I'm gonna end you there, and I'll see you on the flip side. I fucking want to edit that out. That just sounded shit.